What's up yet again? We are here today actually to discuss a very important topic, topic about me and our kids. So if you go back to our YouTube video, we made a video about albinism and dating years ago. I think it was 6 years ago. We made a video, and that video actually is one of our best performing video on YouTube for now and so far. So it does look like it's where we shared a lot of valuable lessons, a lot of valuable information that people enjoyed, and we decided to kind of like create a little niche on our page to address those things. I've also dedicated my life to bringing enlightenment to people that don't understand what albinism is and how the whole albinism thing works. So I'm gonna be your educator for those of you that don't understand this.
So then, why do our kids don't have albinism?
See, when I was growing up, a lot of people thought when I had kids, I even thought when I was much younger that when I had kids, my kids were gonna have albinism. But I knew that it was not until I started getting more educated and I understand the whole genetics of albinism that I realized that there was a very high chance I wasn't gonna have kids with albinism. And so the reason is, albinism is a genetic autosomal recessive. I don't want to use too much.
Can you dumb it down for me?
So, but let me first say it's an autosomal recessive genetic condition. So what that means is it's not X. You know how as a guy you're XY, a girl is XX. So all the genes sit on those chromosomes, X and X or X and Y. The reason why I say it's an autosomal is it's not sex linked. So it could be on a Y chromosome and it could be on an X chromosome. So it's not like it doesn't only appear in men don't carry it or women carry it. So it's autosomal. And then it's recessive because there's a dominant allele out there. So it's something, if there's a recessive and there's a dominant, if you have both of the genes, the dominant one will show as a phenotype.
Here go Dr. Shy Boy being Dr. Shy Boy. Can you dumb it down for us?
Okay, a little further. Okay, so what it is, again, is here I am, I have albinism, I have an autosomal recessive gene that makes me look how I look. You have the dominant allele. This is a wild type allele that I have. It's like the gene I have that made me have albinism it's a recessive gene. So because you have the dominant gene and you most likely don't carry any albinism gene, that is why if you and I have kids, even though all our kids would carry the gene, they will not show it. So Kareem, Kamal, SK, they all are carriers of the gene because I've passed it to them. But the one you pass to them is the one that is dominant. So that one shows.
I'm dominant.
Well, no, it's like
dominant.
So the one you pass to them is the one that shows. So that's where their phenotype, even though their genotype is different, their genotype would show that they carry the gene if you test their genotype, while their phenotype is showing that they don't have it. And this is why this gene continues into generations, and you think that, wait, I look a certain way. Why did I have a child with albinism? It's because even though you didn't look like that, you carry the gene. It's been passed down from generations. My kids are gonna pass it down. My parents pass it down. My parents carried it and they never knew. Probably their grandparents carried it. But then again, it takes two parents. You know, my parents, my dad and mom carried it, and that's why.
Are your mom and dad both black skin, white skin? What color are they? Because people literally ask me that question all the time.
Mm-hmm. I still get the question till date, even with educated people. But I understand because these are albinism is rare. So I would always say I'm going to be an advocate. I'm going to always talk about albinism the best way I can explain it to people. So that at least some people don't think is that we are just mystical beings that came from magical or whatever. My parents are dark skinned. I am from the black race. So I'm black, right? With my white skin. I am black because as you can see, I have my hair, I have my nose, my features, it's all black. The only reason why I look the way I look is because I lack melanin on my skin. And that is because there was the gene that codes for the protein that makes melanin is mutated. So that mutated gene is passed down. It's in the pool. So it passed down to me, and that's how I look like that. My parents carry the gene, but their parents probably gave them the dominant, kind of like how Kareem, I have passed the gene to Kareem. You pass. If you were to carry the gene, this is a scenario where I could probably carry my kids would have had albinism. It's when, let's say, you carry the gene and you don't show it. So there's a high chance that every pregnancy we have is either you drop your dominant gene to make them look like you, dark skin, or there's an odd that you can drop the one that you carry. If you had dropped that, absolutely they were gonna have albinism because I only have the 2 genes that are albinism.
Okay, what about people, because I've seen people that have albinism kids and then the rest of the other kids are black, for example, like that little boy, Samuel Parents, right?
Yes.
Samuel is the only kid with albinism from his parents and his other siblings are black skin.
Yes.
So obviously both parents are carriers of albinism, but they have one child that have albinism and the other kids don't have. So can you explain a little bit?
Again, that's kind of like what I just explained, but I'm going to explain it again.
Why not every time they have kids with albinism, like your parents, right?
Okay, let's say, for example, every time a pregnancy occurs, like you have the sperm and you have the eggs. The sperm is a lot, right? When the sperm goes, it's one of those millions of sperm that makes it, right? So I'm just using that as a...
To determine a boy or a girl.
Yeah, it could be, you have millions. It could have been any of those that would fertilize. It's the one that gets there first, right? So that's the same thing with the gene. So when every pregnancy you have, even though both the parents are carriers, there is a chance that when both come together, the dominant genes were selected. But for some people, for some reason, every pregnancy, the recessive one is selected, and that's why they have kids with albinism. I've seen a family of 7. The first 6 kids don't have albinism, and the last child has albinism. And you ask yourself, if my explanation is correct, how did this happen? It's because probably every pregnancy that they've had, the odds were against albinism. The odds were, it was 4 kids without albinism. So every time they had a child, they selected. No, they didn't select. It was a random, random selection. So every pregnancy, you have a chance. I think the odds are you have a 25% chance, if I'm correct. Please, if you're a scientist here, correct me if I'm wrong. There's a 25% chance of you having a child with albinism. Again, let me be clear. This is what we've learned so far. There are still some very weird scenarios, but majority of albinism occur like this, especially oculocutaneous type 2 albinism.
Okay, being that you just mentioned ocutaneous
albinism.
There we go. Okay. What are there different kinds of albinism?
There are different kinds. I don't know too deep into the types, but I have type 2, OCA2. There are other ones that really don't affect the skin as much, where it just affects the hair color and eye. And that's why you see some people just have very bright hair color and stuff. It just affects their hair color, eye color. So there are different kinds, but the one that is most common and most popular is the one I have, type 2.
Okay, and that affects every part of the body?
Yeah, not every part of the body. So albinism, this is what is the difference between somebody with albinism and somebody that is not. Let me list it to you. The main difference is there's lack of melanin in the skin. Melanin is what gives the skin color. Melanin is what gives the eye color. Melanin is what gives your hair color. Aside that, nothing is different between a person with albinism and you. I and you are practically the same thing, except for the fact that I lack melanin in my skin, my hair, and my eyes. And for the eyes, because I get a lot of questions about people talking about our vision. So there's still research going into it. I think there's still studies that I guess melanin is an important component in the eye. So because we lack melanin in our skin, hair, and eye, it also affects our vision. So we don't have the best vision. So for me, I am like short-sighted. Like I have to bring things closer to see it, or I go close to see it. So that's how that works.
Okay. Another question. Can you explain to us, with your parents having 3 kids with albinism versus seeing another couple that have 3 kids but 1 with albinism?
Well, this difference is the odds
Is it that maybe your parents, both of them carrying the gene, their recessiveness was more dominant? I don't know what would be the word. What would be the word, guys? Because I'm just like you guys. Okay?
You know what?
After 10 years of being with a person with albinism, I still have questions, and I'm still doing my research as well too, and trying to understand more about it. So what would be the word for that? Because if all 3 kids are people with albinism, the chances for them, it seems to be, was much greater versus somebody who had 3 kids as well and only 1.
To be honest with you, I really don't have an absolute correct answer for that. But what I know is that I still believe it's the odds. Like I said, it's like you pick 4 stones, and every time you throw the stones, you have one chance. I mean, one of the stones. Let's say you picked 3 white stone and 1 black stones. Right? Let me use that analogy. And then you roll them together, and you have to pick one out of the like a bottle without saying it. Every time you pick one, you pick the black one. No, let's say let's go again. You have 4 stones. 3 of them are black stones, and 1 of them is white stone. You put all 4 of them in a bottle where you not see, and then you have to pick. So every time you pick from that bottle, you pick the white one. Right? It can happen 1, 2, 3 times the odds. Every time you pick the white one. That's what happened probably with my parents. And again, this is not absolutely sure. So there might be some other explanation, but this is the most, from the data and from my knowledge, from my research, this is the most likely situation to why that happens. My parents have 3 kids with albinism. So every time they pick from that pot of 4 stones, they want to pick one, they keep picking the white one. Another parent might go into 2 parents, they want to pick a stone. I'm using a stone as another analogy of you having a child. You go in there, you have a higher chance of picking from the 3 because any of the 4 you pick, you have 75% of picking a black one. Another parent to go in there and pick, and every time they can even have 7 kids, and every time they go in there, they pick the black one. So while another parents might go in there and 7 times they could pick, but the odds of you picking it 7 times is much lower. So this is why I can guarantee you that there are some people walking around that have had all their kids, and they are probably carriers, but they never find out because every time that they picked, they had picked the black, and that's why they never found out. Think about the parents I told you had 7 kids. If they had stopped having kids at 5, would they have ever known that they are carriers of albinism?
Now, being that you said that, though, I want to know, is there any physical presence in a physically black person that can determine or make a person know that, hey, most likely this person is a carrier of, the albinism?
Nope. There's nothing. Like my kids are carriers.
For example, you and I kind of talked about one of your cousins that has a patch.
No, that's something entirely different. That has nothing to do with albinism.
Okay.
That's probably also melanin is lacking in that space, but it has nothing to do with albinism. There's nothing that can show you. It's kind of like, if you know sickle cell, people that carry sickle cell, they don't show it. They're probably one of the most healthy people, except you test their genotype and find out that they are AS. When 2 AS get married, that's when they have a child with sickle cell. The phenotype for sickle cell is the child always getting sick and having sickle cell shaped red blood cells. So that same thing's logic can apply to albinism. Karim, my kid, my sons, none of them show any signs that they are. So if the odds of them meeting another person with albinism and getting married to another person that carries albinism is low. So this is why most likely they might not be able to get married to somebody like that.
Okay. Another thing, let's talk about Kareem's birth, right? Kareem is our first son. He's 5 years old. When we got pregnant with Kareem, what was your mom's experience and her thought about our whole experience, even yours? What was your expectation and as well as your family's expectation?
So,
especially your mom went through that.
So before my older sister had 2 sons before I had my first son. So for me, I and my sister's kids don't have albinism. So that's already a confirmation for me because I already knew because I studied biology and I focused a lot on genetics because I wanted to understand genetic conditions. So I already knew that the odds of me having a child with albinism was very, very low. The chances of you carrying the gene, the only reason why I was like, I have zero, like, the only reason why I knew it wasn't a zero chance is that I didn't test your genotype to know if you're a carrier. But I knew the chances of you being a carrier might be low. So I'm like, okay, my sister already has kids with albinism and my mom. So my mom is very particular. Every time we had a child, she will come and be like, I want to see the child's hair. Because she knows the struggle she went through raising us with albinism in Africa. And she doesn't, for some reason, don't want us to have kids with albinism. And to be honest with you, I don't want to have a child with albinism mainly because of nothing except for the vision issues that I struggled with. Everything else, I like my skin that God gave me. I like my looks. The only thing is I have vision issues. So if vision can be taken out of albinism, I would want to have kids with albinism without hesitation. But my mom didn't want it. So my mom was always calling and be like, oh, every time we had the kids, I have to show her a picture. Oh, look at her. The hair is black, so don't worry about it.
Yeah, that's the first thing, guys. Like literally, every time I've had my boys, the first thing my mother-in-law wants to see is show me a picture of their hair. She'll call on video. I want to see their hair, cause you know when babies are born, their skin is very light. So the first thing she wants to see is their hair color. And then once she sees the hair color, then she starts asking, "How are you doing? How's the baby doing?" And then she gets into the other stuff. But the first thing that's a priority for her is, that their hair is black, okay? So let's talk about it. How do you think, because Molly have shared multiple times her experience, what was her experience like having kids with albinism in Nigeria, the most populated Black nation in the world?
Would you say we should save that for another video?
Maybe we can save it for another video. Maybe Molly can go ahead and actually say her own perspective all the way from Nigeria. We could do a Zoom session or something.
Yeah. For this particular video, I mean, you guys tell us too. Like, if you want us, this is a niche. Like I said, one of our best performing video on our page is a video we talked about albinism and dating. And it seems like a lot of people have a lot of questions. From this video, I'm sure it's going to probably trigger more questions. If you guys have questions about some of the things we've shared here today, you guys just go ahead and drop us a comment. Let us know, what do you want to know? It could be the weirdest question possible. I'm ready because I want to enlighten you. I want you to understand that this is just a normal genetic condition. So, and we're going to be making...
Sorry, being that I said that, I've had the craziest questions asked to me about what color is his private part. Don't ask that question, okay?
You can ask it and I'll tell you what it is.
Don't ask that question.
I won't show you though.
Because clearly, from head to toe, he's white skinned. So what other color could it be? He doesn't have vitiligo, so don't ask that question because literally people have asked me that question.
Oh.
Okay? Okay, our second son, when we got pregnant with our second son again, people had questions and perspective about the same thing.
Yeah, it's still the same thing. It applies to the first, second, third. People ask the same questions. And this is why we're making this video, to enlighten people and to let them understand that, well, the funniest thing? We could actually have the fourth child and it could be somebody with albinism. Who knows?
Honestly, guys, though, I wouldn't mind having a child with albinism because I think Yaya and his sisters are the best to be around other kids that do have albinism, because then they're able to guide them and kind of show them the path on things that they can do to make it work for them.
And you guys too can give us other suggestions of questions you have. And if you're a person with albinism too watching this and you even have questions, because a lot of people with albinism themselves don't know. Yeah. They have a lot of questions because they are not educated, or they just don't know, or people have just created these stereotypes for them that make them feel like what they have is a curse or is something like that. So please drop a comment in the section, and we will make it possible. Like I said, I've made the solemn decision that I'm gonna be making videos to enlighten you guys, to make sure you understand what albinism is, so that you can show some respect to people with albinism, and you should stop stereotyping people with albinism. with these few points of mine, I hope I've been able to not confuse you, but convince you that albinism is just a genetic condition that anybody can have, or anybody can carry, anybody can inherit. Anybody. Thank you.
Okay, our kids though, right? I think it was about last year or the year before, you started kind of having the conversation with Kareem about why your skin color is different. What prompted you to do that?